everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we have another interview with Michael Ferguson.
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah, but a different topic now.
Totally different topic. You guys are going to be like, wait, he's like the brain scientist guy, right? And
Yeah.
we're going to be like, yeah, but he's other things too.
Yeah, like, you know.
Don't be a jerk. Like a big fat gay. That's what he is. Big old queer.
Yeah, there's that.
That's not true. He's not big at all.
He's not fat.
No, he's a slim
Yeah.
queer.
But he's a homo.
He is a homo.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to him a little bit about his experience because he was part of a whole thing
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah,
later
that's coming out.
But for now, what do you got? You got something good?
Well, yeah, I mean, aside from us throwing around the homo word,
Yes.
but
What?
I was just thinking about maybe
good?
new listeners. They might be a little like, who are these guys?
Well,
Why do they throw these words around?
I know.
Anyway,
Well, you're
I'm a big old homo.
You're allowed to. I'm not. I've heard that some listeners have been offended by my
By your homo?
throwing? Apparently, I'm
Really?
quite lackadaisical about which words I use about it.
Yeah, no, you are.
Yeah, but I'm
Doesn't offend me,
nah.
but I know you.
I'm such a goddamn ally. It just feels like I don't know. Just like all of my friends are gay. I don't know. Maybe now I'm sounding like that guy. Now I'm sounding like I've got gay friends.
Yeah.
I can say that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, Dan.
Maybe it's wrong.
You may want to check that one. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not saying you should.
Well, if
'cause
you're
I'm
not-
I'm not bothered by it.
Okay.
Okay, but
Well,
anyway,
there
let's
we
move.
go.
Let's move on. That Donald Trump got himself elected president.
Yeah.
That happened.
Well, he didn't really do it himself. I mean, he had help.
Well,
Like,
not
Russia or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't even want to think or talk about that at this moment.
I hear you.
However, it's had an interesting effect on progressive Protestants in this country.
Oh.
Yeah, they're going back to church.
What?
Yeah, that's what they do in times of national crisis, apparently. Progressive churches like the Unitarian Universalists and what would be some other ones, that kind of mainline Protestant progressive.
You get some of those Anglicans and whatnot.
Some of those whatever. Tend to be a little what's the word? Just sort of a little relaxed in their approach. They don't go to church every week, whatever.
No.
But when 9/11 happens, they show up to church.
Okay.
Right? When really tragic school shooting happens, they show up to church. After Hurricane Katrina, they showed up to church. I mean, this is statistical.
Right.
Right? And after Donald Trump gets elected, they all start showing up to church.
Yeah, because they assume that they're being punished. They assume that God has noticed that they're not showing up, and they're like, "Oh fuck, I'm sorry, God. Can we fix it?
You think that's what it is?
If I pray enough?" No, they're scared as shit.
I think they're looking for a sense of community. I think they're looking for a place to go find other like-minded people who are feeling a little threatened.
They're
That's
running
what I
into the
think.
wrong refuge as far as I'm concerned.
But let's see. Deborah Hafner, she's the minister at a Unitarian Universalist church in Reston, Virginia.
Okay.
She said that, this is her quote, "People walked in here like they were going to a funeral."
Yeah.
Wow.
Because let me tell you something. The thinking folk of this country are scared shitless. Right now.
Yeah, a little worrying. It's worrying.
I got news for you. Prayer ain't gonna help you out.
No,
It ain't gonna be Jesus.
Right? Exactly. Like Jesus is what got us into this mess in the first
That's
place.
what I'm talking about. Yeah, you gotta find yourself a rally or something.
Yeah.
Because church ain't the answer. but hopefully it'll make them all feel better, and then they don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah, well, that's the nice thing about religion, isn't it? That it kind of takes a little bit of the responsibility of action away from you.
Yeah.
Because you just did your thing.
I did my part.
Whoa. I went to church last Sunday.
I gave.
Yeah,
I put money on the collection plate.
I put like $15 in it.
So
and I stood up and sat down a bunch of times.
I sang the song. I'm good, right?
The minister said something, and I said something back.
We're good.
Everything's good.
The world spinning the way it ought to. Now that I'm back in Jesus' favor.
Oh, I feel so much better now.
Hooray.
Oh, Donald Trump. Yeah, he can be president.
It'll work.
Get through
It'll all work just fine. Oklahoma City. You're going to head out to Oklahoma. Ooh, excuse me. I had a little hiccup there. You're going to head out to Oklahoma next week.
Yeah, not Oklahoma City.
No.
Tulsa. Or Tulsa, sort of the area outside of Tulsa.
Well, I assume.
But I've been to Oklahoma City.
Indeed. Well, all of Oklahoma.
Oh.
Any area of Oklahoma that has a State Department of Health office.
Oh boy.
Will get some new decoration. As part of a bill that has been passed in Oklahoma in the last legislative session.
This makes me nervous.
Here's the thing: there will be signs posted in all the bathrooms.
Oh no. Why does this worry? Why am I worried?
All the bathrooms licensed to the State Department of Health that say, quote, "There are many public and private agencies willing and able to help you carry your child to term and assist you after your child is born. Whether you keep your child or place him or her for adoption, the state of Oklahoma strongly urges you to contact them if you are pregnant." Which, that last line to me is particularly ominous.
The state of Oklahoma.
You will contact us if you are pregnant. We must know. Oh, my God.
Oh, Oklahoma.
They can't make it illegal, but they can sure make it painful.
God, Oklahoma is the state that does the things that Utah wishes it could.
Yeah. It's true. Oklahoma...
Somehow Utah just doesn't do this.
They're
nonsense.
doers over there in Oklahoma.
They leap without looking.
They do.
A lot.
Or rather, yes, exactly. They know the direction that they want to leap, and they leap.
They just go there. It's pretty
At least
impressive.
in Utah. Like in Utah, there's like pretense at some debate about it. It's not debated really, but there's like this sense of...
Well,
I don't know.
The one thing that I've noticed about the Utah State Legislature is it's all about the bottom line. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so every bill has and I'm sure most states do this, but every bill has attached how much it's going to cost the state.
Yeah.
And a complete breakdown. How much will this law cost us? Any old way it could possibly cost them money. Right.
Well,
and so in the state of Utah, they're going to be like, oh, we have to have all these signs printed, and it's going to cost this much to hang the signs. And
do you want to take a guess at how much it's going to cost to hang the signs?
How much is it going to cost?
They have to be posted by 2018. It's conservative estimates put it at more than $2 million.
Yeah, that's why Utah wouldn't do it.
Right. Exactly.
Because Utahns are all super crazy about not spending money like that.
Right.
So.
Well, thank God, at least in this way. They'll make other people spend money. Boy, if you have a bar, get ready to pay some money.
Oh, boy. Yeah, but that's not the state spending the money.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. That's awful.
Yeah. Well,
good on Oklahoma. You know,
super useful.
They're just no expense.
They will spare no expense for their idiocy.
$2 million?
Yeah. Why not? For signs that are going to do nothing. These signs are not going to do anything. I mean, they've got to know that. Maybe I think the best.
What are these signs being made of?
I don't know. I'm guessing that there's a lot of bathrooms, and then they got to hire.
Seems like you could just have basically a bumper sticker. You know, get online, make your bumper sticker sign, right?
Yeah.
Have a bunch of them printed off. Honestly, how many bathrooms could there be? You should be able to get a decent decent price.
Yeah.
You know, if you're buying, 1,000.
I think
of
they're
them.
made of gold. They
And then-
want them to
and
be
then
taken
you have to get
seriously.
some envelopes, and you have to like mail them out. It's probably personnel more than anything. With this.
Yeah.
'Cause it can't cost. Seriously,
I'm
I
telling
hate
you.
to be stuck on this point, but how can it cost $2 million? Anyway, let's move on.
It's government. They can spend $2 million on worthless signs that won't do anything. They can figure that out.
Yeah,
They'll do it.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit south,
Uh-oh.
Oklahoma,
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown Christmas is causing a fracas.
What? In Texas?
Not Charlie Brown Christmas per se, but a school nurse at a middle school
Yeah.
decided to hang a handmade little poster up. Features Linus, who's one of the Peanuts.
Yes, indeed.
Right? Is that how you refer to them? Are they Peanuts?
They're the Peanuts, yes.
They're the Peanuts. He's one of the Peanuts. Do you recall that a Charlie Brown Christmas is like the most religious of all the Christmas specials, right? Aside from maybe like the Mr. Magoo one where he's like praying to Jesus. But like,
I didn't watch
the
a lot of
manger.
them, but sure. Like I remember there being.
but this is like the big one. I mean, a Charlie Brown Christmas it's up there with like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, this is one of like
everybody loved it.
the
Whatever.
destination holiday specials, right?
Yeah.
It has this little break in the middle where Linus is Charlie Brown. What is this all about anyway? And Linus is like, in City of David, a child is born.
Right,
Blah blah blah.
yeah.
He quotes from the Gospel of Luke. Was it the second chapter that has like
Yeah.
the angels, the tale of the angels descending
Sure.
upon the flock tending shepherds. To blah, blah, blah. And his line is, "For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord." That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown. And that's what she wrote on the poster.
Uh-huh.
And
Can't have that in a public school. Charlie Brown.
so let's break this down. December 7th, the principal asked Shannon to remove the Linus quote or take down the poster altogether.
Right.
The very following day, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said the removal was an attack on religious liberty. Took him 24 hours to respond to a middle school principal.
Wow.
Okay, these
And
people
that's-
don't have anything
You
better
said that's
to
the
do.
Attorney General.
The state Attorney General.
That's a man who should understand what the law says.
Well, apparently, it is his opinion
Yeah.
that the Supreme Court has repeatedly held that neither students nor teachers shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. Okay. Then he invoked the state's Merry Christmas law,
Oh no! Wait.
which I had to look up.
I feel like we may have covered this several
We may
years ago.
have. We may have.
Is it fairly recent?
It's newish. Yes.
Okay. Remind me.
So, be it enacted by the legislature of the state of Texas. Winter celebrations. A school district may educate students about the history of traditional winter celebrations and allow students and district staff to offer traditional greetings regarding the celebrations, including 1. Merry Christmas, 2. Happy Hanukkah, and 3. Happy Holidays.
Wow.
Except as provided by, the school district may display on school property scenes or symbols associated with traditional winter celebrations, including a menorah or a Christmas image, such as a nativity scene or Christmas tree, if the display includes a scene or symbol of 1. More than one religion, or 2. One religion and at least one secular scene or symbol.
Like Charlie Brown?
Like Charlie fucking Brown!
Oh, Jesus, Texas. Get your shit together. It's just so stupid. Here's what it is. Human beings, even smart human beings, are completely disingenuous. If he were to analyze this, right? It was
The Attorney General?
Yeah.
Yes, a he.
If he were to analyze this in the most cool-headed way possible, he would understand why it's not okay to put religious iconography and symbolism up on a public school, displayed at a public school.
Right.
He would understand that. He would totally be able to figure that out.
Right.
But once you start a belief, you just let go of all of that and you double down on any illogic that works in your mind. Like if it'll get you halfway there, you're all over it.
Yeah.
It's just so disingenuous.
Well, the school district, surprisingly enough, the school board,
yeah.
Has voted to support the principal.
Right. Because they've seen this shit.
Against the Attorney General's forceful recommendation.
Well, that's amazing, though.
And so 6-1 vote. They're like, we need to study this further. We're not legal experts, but right now we're standing with the principal. We're keeping the sign down, and then we'll figure out what to do going forward.
Good for
which
them.
is a totally reasonable and rational approach, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And saying that, maybe in the future, who knows? Maybe the Attorney General's right.
Right.
He's not, but maybe.
Let us look into it.
So we'll look into this.
Meaning, let us go ahead and get our attorneys to look up all of the precedents that we already know exist that say that we can't do this so that we can show them to the Attorney General.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing the thing that saved this the school nurse is that it wasn't a Bible quote with Jesus in a manger. It was a Bible quote, and it was a Linus standing next to it.
Right.
Right. And there was, aside from the quote, which is, she ostensibly is quoting Linus as well, even though Linus is quoting
Yeah. Right.
the Bible.
Yeah. You're not quoting. You're not fooling anybody, lady. Oh, my God. Well, I'm going to take us to our upbringing. The Mormon Church.
Now.
The Mormons.
Now.
They've had.
What are they up to?
They've rejected something. There was going to be a song added to their their young women's program.
Yeah.
That those beautiful young women could sing.
Oh.
I'm gonna read you. It's a song. Now you have to understand that Mormons. I think this is entirely fair. Mormons are obsessed with purity when it comes to girls.
Yes.
They're not so obsessed with it when it comes to boys, though. They'll make you feel like shit about masturbating, but they're obsessed with purity. Purity meaning like, and it's funny because when they use for words like morally clean,
Yeah.
all they mean is sex.
Oh, yeah.
That is all they're talking about.
What else could it mean?
Morality doesn't mean anything, but don't let anyone touch your boobies. Well, let me see. So here's a song. It's a new song about purity, taken in part from the biblical verse in Isaiah. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Let's see if you can figure out why this might have not been a well thought out entry into the canon. They can be white, bright as the day after the night. He'll take all the stains away. We can let go. We can move on, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off. Though our sins be red, instead they can be white.
Oh.
There are apparently enough black or Mormons of color that maybe that wasn't the best idea in the world.
Right.
Just to have a song that repeatedly says you can be white.
White.
Be white. Being white is good. Anything else is bad.
Brown. 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 Brown.
They can be brown. They can be brown. New.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was going to be made official, and then they pulled it pending a review.
Oh no, it's done. Is that Janice Cat Perry?
No, it was co-written by a 17-year-old Asian Latter-day Saint, so a person of color.
Yeah.
A little tone deaf on the whole white thing, though.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
All
there you
right.
go.
Well, good for them. They're avoiding controversy is what they're doing.
Well, I mean, they already had the controversy a little bit. It came out
Didn't make it into the publication though. Imagine if it had actually been in the songbook.
right.
One
Mormon of color, a black woman by the name of my computer is freezing up.
No.
By the name of something Graham Russell. What is her name? Janan Graham Russell. Doesn't necessarily believe that this is the best, that this is just good news. While she was the one that said, she basically, she's quoted in this Salt Lake Tribune article, talking about how it's symptomatic of not having honest conversations. This is a quote from her. It's symptomatic of not having honest conversations about race and what has been said about whiteness and blackness in our history. Yeah, the Mormons do have some history about the whole white and black thing, including that whole thing about, like, if you're good, and this is true, this is what people used to say, leaders of the church, the prophet of the church would say, if you're brown, but you're good, you'll get whiter.
Yeah. No.
Don't worry. You don't have to be that color forever, that disgusting, sinful blackness.
Or brownness.
Or brownness. Doesn't have to stain you forever. You'll get
gross.
white someday.
So gross.
It is so gross. Anyway,
It's okay to tan during the summer.
ish.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. Avoid even the appearance of evil, Frank.
Well, I've got another Marmon.
Oh, good.
Marmon story.
The Mormons.
Not really so much about the Mormons, but an LGBT community center opening in Provo.
Oh?
Across the street from the temple.
Oh.
Like, right across the street.
Wait.
From the downtown temple.
Okay.
The Provo Center.
Okay.
Or Provo City Center
Yeah,
Temple.
whatever
I don't know
it
what
is.
they
The
call it.
New Skin Temple.
Yeah. There's a charming old home across the street that was purchased by a board member of Encircle, which is an LGBT group
Yeah.
down in the Utah County.
Okay.
They feel that the proximity to the temple sends a strong signal to LGBT members of the church or members of the church with LGBT family members as a nice reminder. And this group
Don't forget, your son is gay. Yeah, go do your temple. Your son's gay.
that actually should just be people out in front of the temple with picket signs. It's like, your son's gay, right?
Yeah. You've got a gay niece.
Yeah.
She's gay.
That granddaughter that you've been wondering about, yeah, she's a lesbian. It's for real.
And you love her.
You still love her, right? Now, what are you doing in there?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. Apparently, Encircle on their board has one Mr. Tom Christofferson. Do you know that name?
No.
I didn't either. He's Mormon and gay, and his brother is one of the Quorum of the 12.
Oh, wow.
Christofferson.
Yeah.
He's one of the newer ones.
That's a Mormon mucky muck, a higher up in the Mormon church.
Really high up.
Yeah.
Like, in line to the presidency. And he's a young dude, too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, as young as you could be.
Your brother's gay.
He's like 60. No, apparently he's kind of cool on the issue. Like,
Okay.
As cool as you could be and be in that position.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, they receive donations from the likes of Steve Young.
Okay. Football player, famous professional football player
Yeah.
and notorious Mormon heartthrob.
Yeah. He was a looker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But he and his wife have been very supportive of the LGBT community.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, who could spend that much time in a locker room full of strapping young men and not be okay with gay?
And the community center will, because it is a home, they want it to feel like a home. There will be fresh baked cookies, apparently, as well as art classes, homework help, and on-site counseling for individuals and families.
Oh, but in,
Isn't that nice?
in Provo, who could possibly need that? Everybody's healthy and gay in Provo.
Oh my God!
We'll be talking about that later on in the show.
Indeed,
Dr. Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's some bullshit. I hope they paint it rainbow colors like the one in Wichita.
It's blue, I think.
Is that Wichita? Is that where the Equality House is across the street from the Westboro Baptist folks?
Oh shoot, I believe so.
Well, Kansas somewhere, assholery.
Well, there's Wichita and Topeka.
Those aren't the same?
No.
Is that two different places?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan. I feel like it was Topeka, but I might be wrong.
It was one of them.
Did we go through both?
I fuck if I know. I don't know. Kansas was a bit of a blur. It was towards the end of the trip. Kansas was, I mean, it's delightful, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, so
there you go.
There's
Go. Apparently, go get some gay cookies in Provo.
yeah, and then go to your temple work.
Right. I'm
Get
gonna
refreshments after.
definitely gonna stop in for a cookie every now and then.
You should. Are you down there?
No, I don't ever
Often?
go. I try to avoid it as much as I can.
It's such a cute little town, Provo.
Stepford. Yeah, I can't
It's
do
a
it.
weird place.
It's a weird place. I'm going to take us to another weird place.
Oh?
Maine.
Maine.
The state of Maine in these United States.
Okay.
Where a man who out-weirds most of them in Maine, a man named Phelan Moonsong, which that says a lot. And all of
like this moon song is failing.
Phelan.
Whoa, Phelan.
Phelan Moonsong.
Phelan.
All I'm going to say is whatever image is coming to your head, multiply it by 10 and you're right.
So long. How long is his hair?
He has won a right. I'm going to show you a picture of his hair soon enough.
Does he? So I imagine that he just has dream catchers, like all over the place.
Yeah.
Is it that guy?
It is that guy.
Does he walk around with like a mason jar with like some sort of unimaginable concoction in it with a tea bag hanging out of
Okay,
it?
I'm going to show him a picture.
And just kind of. That's not. No.
It's
That's you're right. 10 times worse than I
Right.
could possibly.
I
have
said
imagined.
multiply by 10. You didn't do it. You didn't do the math properly. Here's what he's won the right to do is to have all of these pictures have Mr. Moonsong with goat horns seemingly growing out of his forehead. As well as like the sort of David Crosby mustache and like the guy, yeah. He's an older gentleman. He's got a big old mustache and a goatee and
was that like a fur vest?
yeah,
with
yeah,
nothing on
yeah. There's a
underneath
picture of him with a fur vest and then like sort of fur pants and like fake hoof shoes. He's a neo-pagan, is what he is what he calls himself. He calls himself a priest of Pan. And as
that
such,
explains it.
and as such, believes that he should have the right to wear those horns, those goat horns,
Yeah, clearly,
on his main driver's license.
as he should.
And apparently, there's been some back and forth with the state, and it looks like it's going to happen.
Wow.
Looks like he, there's all the Pastafarians with the colanders on their head. He will have his horns.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Especially because this is legit, right? Like this is really who he is.
I
Because
don't
the
think
colander
anybody.
thing is a little okay. You're having your fun.
There's
Get
some,
it?
There's some commitment to this person.
No, I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that. You'll notice. Turn it toward me again. Yeah, he's come by that tan, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
That's not some office worker who goes out on the weekends and frolics.
No,
this
and
guy's
he's
out
wearing,
there like
like,
this all the time.
He's wearing like a leather. I don't know. You'll have to probably Google it, people, because it's just worth seeing. He's got glasses. Like, I don't know. I feel like if you have, I feel like there's a contradiction between glasses and goat horns, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. Anyway, the rights.
There is neo-pagan.
Yeah, exactly. He can still participate in modern conveniences, like corrected vision.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh well, if you belong to a religion that you think we should all know about, and that you should have special rights in terms of what you get to wear in your government issued ID, you can write to us and tell us all about it. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join.
A growing, delightful community.
It's a closed group, though, but we'll let you in.
Well, we got some audio here.
Oh, yeah.
So this is notorious canned ham Gordon Klingenschmidt.
Okay.
He's got some wisdom from us from Martin Luther King Jr. So thank God he's going to that well.
Oh, okay. Good.
What is the idea of discrimination? I want to show you a famous man here, Martin Luther King Jr., who said in his I Have a Dream speech, talked about discrimination, and actually he said, it's okay to discriminate. Wait a minute. Martin Luther King promoted discrimination? Yes, just not according to your skin color. He said this, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day be able to live in a nation where they'll not be judged by the color of their skin, but they will be judged. They will be discriminated against according to the content of their character. In other words, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. It matters what's inside of your heart. And if your heart is full of corruption or sin or immorality, in this case homosexuality, then you should be discriminated against. When these confusing statutes now try to redefine discrimination and say that you can no longer discriminate against character, that anyone who discriminates against character is guilty of discrimination and therefore ought to be discriminated against, they're actually saying Martin Luther King himself ought to be punished for his views. And that's not right.
MLK
Wow.
is on his side.
That is some sound logic.
It's good reasoning. It's really good reasoning.
Klingenschmidt.
I mean, I'm guessing that MLK was no fan of the gays. Like,
Product of his time, yeah, I'm
well,
sure.
and you know, Baptist minister is not going to be.
What about, what's
huge.
his bucket? The guy on, the gay guy who was one of his right-hand men.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I don't know that they knew that he was gay. They might have. I can't
They
remember the
might
whole
have.
story. I saw a PBS documentary once
Okay,
on it,
great.
and I paid close attention.
I'll bet you did. Yeah.
And I don't remember anything about it. I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I even brought it up.
Nevertheless, he got you there, man. It's all you gay people.
Character. Wow.
It's a function of
It's
character.
all about character.
Just get some character, will you?
As a gay man, it's hard, Dan,
I know.
to come by character.
I know. Well, and apparently, character, as defined by Gordon Klingenschmidt, is fucking a pussy. That's called character. You touching another man's ding dong, that's not character.
No.
That's low.
Yeah, you know, God, he's so smart. It's so Klingenschmidt.
He's figured it out.
Klingenschmidt.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a lot of correspondence. We did have a little bit. I'm gonna read an email that we got from Paul.
Oh, okay.
Dearest Frank and Dan, your recent discussion regarding abortion. We had a whole long discussion about abortion a few episodes ago.
Yeah, okay. All right.
reminded me of a question I have never been given an adequate response to from the Christian pro-life crowd. Most Christians I have encountered, I also used to be of that ilk, believe that any child that dies prior to the age of understanding automatically gets a free ticket to heaven. So aborted, quote, children have a 100% chance of enjoying heavenly bliss for all eternity.
Yeah.
The alternative best case scenario for a child born in the States is maybe 50%, likely less, that they find Jesus. He wrote Jeebus. For the 50% that don't, an eternal realm of torture awaits. Why fight so hard against abortion if the aborted get a 100% one-way ticket to heaven? Isn't achieving eternal life what this mortal life on earth is all about? Why give those children any chance whatsoever of earning a never-ending bath of hellfire?
Wow.
Yeah. That's an interesting point.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, maybe the mom and the doctor go to hell.
Yeah, but that baby,
All those little
ticket to heaven,
all those little fetuses, those little embryos,
flying up to heaven.
they barely even come down. They just like they do a tag back, they do a touch back, they just run back, tag in, and then they're out.
Yeah. There's
perfect.
and God knows everything that's going to happen and everything. So he sends all his favorite babies to
the abortion room.
To the abortion room.
Yeah. The rest of us were just the assholes that God didn't like.
Yeah.
God's like, we'll see about you. You, and you, I'm going to make sure that you die early. But you, oh no, you're making it all the way.
Yeah.
We're going to see about you, you dick.
Yeah.
Because God is a cruel and heartless man.
He'd have to be.
Yeah.
He'd have to be.
Yeah.
The Christian God is one of the most fucked up things you could ever conceive, I think.
Absolutely.
Like he's horrible.
A 100% horrible.
And I hope
horrible
he can hear me saying this right now.
Well, I don't believe that he can. But maybe fictitious people, it's hard to get their attention. They're tricky that way.
Well, Dan.
Yeah, what do you got?
Do you have anything else over there?
No, that's it. We need to talk about a few things.
Yeah, Christmas, Dan. It's coming up. Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas. I say Happy Holidays.
Happy holidays.
And Merry Christmas.
And Happy Hanukkah.
And
there was no Kwanzaa mentioned in that Texas law.
No, Texas doesn't have any black folks, does it?
They have to.
Yeah, they got a lot. They got a lot. They just don't have to. They just don't pay any attention to them.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. So with Christmas upon us, you and I have our schedules have become untenable.
Just it's actually this doesn't happen very often. Where it's just it's not going to come together. So I'm flying home to Oklahoma on Friday,
Right.
to spend a lovely few days with my family. And
Will it be lovely?
No, this is going to be perhaps one of the worst all-time Feldman family Christmases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know why?
Yeah, that's true. That's
So-
true. There's some sadness and
Yeah. My dad has some cancer, and so we're gonna be dealing with that. Yeah. But anyway, so I have that to look forward to, and you've got your stuff going on here,
right.
and
We're just not going to be able to make a show.
that's
So-
what we're getting.
So
That was the long way around.
we're
to
taking
say,
a break for 1 week,
which is something we don't do.
no. You and
God,
I.
when have we taken a break?
We were-
Or when has the show taken a break?
We worked very hard to have a show for you.
Yeah.
It may be shitty as all hell, but we're going to get you a show. Well, not this time, suckers. There will be no Christmas show.
No Christmas show.
So
Just we thought through all the different possibilities and ways of doing it, and it was just like, there's just really no time.
Yeah.
So for once, there is no time. But we will be back the following week.
and a raring to go.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Just
because then it's going to be New Year's.
Woohoo!
Actually, yeah, the show will launch right as we're ringing in the new year.
So that'll be exciting.
So that'll be awesome. But in the meantime, I would like to thank some new patrons on Patreon.
Oh, hooray!
You guys are just you're killing it over there. Like, it's amazing. We last week we announced that we beat our last goal.
We have achieved a goal. So
We achieved a goal,
and we will all be rewarded for that goal.
yeah. Well, we're going to start shooting video of us recording the show.
Yeah.
And then we're going to post the video onto the YouTube.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did with that. And then now we have this new goal coming up. And as soon as we hit it, we will be doing 2 sort of traveling shows a year.
Yeah, we, on our dime, come out to you, to whatever town you're in. Specifically you. I'm talking to you, listener.
Well, there is a chance that could be true.
Yeah. Jim. Talking to Jim and Susie.
In where?
In, I don't know, Iowa.
Yeah, there you go.
Or somewhere.
Sioux City.
Sioux City. Sure. It could be anywhere, and here's how we determine it. All of our patrons from here on in, when if you're a current patron, if you're a patron who's just joining, you sign up on Patreon as a patron, and then you send us an email just telling us where you are.
Yeah.
And guess what? That counts as a vote for where we want to come, for where you want us to come. The more of a patron you are, guess what? The more votes you get.
Yeah, every dollar's a vote.
So yeah, the more you donate, the more votes you get, and we want to come and see
Fair
you.
enough, people. This is Trump's America now.
Right?
Just get used to it, okay?
We're embracing it. No, but seriously, the other way to get us out to your neck of the woods is for you to encourage maybe the rest of the people in your local group.
Your listening group. You know, when you get together every week
and have a Frank and Dan listen. When you sit around the fire and turn on the old, just like they did back in the radio days.
Oh, we've been hearkening. It's for days of yore.
It's a fireside chat. Anyway, however you want to do it, but we're very excited about bringing you that, bringing us to you and coming out and meeting you. So please don't hesitate to become a patron. And who do we have to thank?
Well, we have one faithful Larry.
Oh, faithful Larry.
To thank.
He's my favorite.
We have Saint Tiara, and then Pope Matt.
Oh, a pope.
We got a pope this week.
Matt, you're killing it.
Oh, my goodness.
So the three of you, any of you guys can write into us now and tell us where you're from, and we'll put you in the running for us coming out to see you.
Yeah, and then James is our savior.
Is our savior.
Continues to be our savior, our Lord and Savior.
In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Well, we're back again. We've got Dr. Michael Ferguson back with us. We had you on last week, Michael, and or should I call you Dr. Ferguson? That sounds so official.
It sounds so official.
I should probably say that we know each other. We're friends. So I don't know if I just suddenly
conflict of interest, disclosure.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it just seems like you're supposed to say that. It's not like Frank and I present ourselves as journalists or whatever.
Oh dear God, no!
Good Lord, that would be terrifying. Okay, so last week we talked about your fascinating work with brain science, but we're not going back to that this week. This week we wanted to talk about a lawsuit that you were involved in. Last year, was that when everything sort of came to a head?
That's correct. It went to trial last year.
And this is I think we reported on it a little bit. But I'm so glad that you are now able to talk to us about it, because it is It's important stuff out there. You were involved in a group, or you attended? I don't want to. You went to a group called Jonah.
Yeah, I was a client.
You're a client. You paid them money.
Yep.
And that Jonah was a what does that stand for? Jewish something.
Yep. At the time, it stood for Jews offering new alternatives to homosexuality.
Oh.
Right. And have they changed that now? Does it stand for something else now?
Now it stands for "She got shut down, honey."
Oh, please gay out as much as you can during this interview.
They got put out of business by the lawsuit, so they don't stand for anything anymore.
Right. Excellent. So talk to us about the journey that led you to Jonah.
Well, that journey started. Well, there's many places you could say that it started. I'll go ahead and begin with Brigham Young University. When I was a returned missionary, I was at BYU.
Good little Mormon boy.
Good little Mormon boy. And I was doing my duty to find my eternal companion. And I was dating women. And I got to a point where I was aware that I was attracted to men. I was not ready to use the word gay. I was not ready to even use the word homosexual. And I was barely able to even think to myself in the terms of same-sex attraction. So there was a lot of internalized homophobia that was going on.
You were suffering from same-sex attraction.
That's right. I thought of it as my cross to bear. And I thought that this is my thorn in the flesh.
Oh, they give you so many good words to use for this shit, don't they?
I know. It's so vivid. And this is actually important because most people don't realize that some of the most toxic forms of sexual orientation change efforts come directly because religious psychological symbols are so vivid.
Yeah.
So then if you're thinking about your core nature, your own sexuality, in terms of nails through the flesh of the hands of God, and in terms of the thorn that prevents you from entering eternal glory, it's man. And then it becomes really apparent that this intersection of religious fundamentalism that is anti-gay, anti-trans, anti a lot of things, in addition to individuals who really believe and are trying to make it work.
Yeah.
There is an immense amount of harm, so much so that I strongly feel like it's a public health crisis.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that point. I think that as a brain scientist who's studied religion, they tap into some powerful shit.
Yeah.
And if you start internalizing that about your own sexuality that is clearly inherent to you, you're up shit's creek.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you so you determine in your attempting to date women that something is going horribly awry.
That's right, and I didn't feel like I could morally, responsibly, ethically continue to date women without disclosing to them that this was part of my experience. So
how did that go? That's a fun conversation to have.
You know what? It went surprisingly without very much consequence. Most of the Mormon women that I dated, the response to me telling them that I'm gay was, well, we can make this work.
Oh, God.
It sounds about right.
Yeah, it does sound about right. If you know Mormons and first of all, these ladies, especially at BYU, are desperate for a husband. Mm-hmm. They are running around like chickens with their heads cut off trying to find that husband. So the fact that you just had a penis is probably enough. Whether you used it with them or not, that was probably enough for them.
So, and it's complicated because on the one hand, I give them props for being compassionate. But I place the blame on the system that teaches nothing about human sexuality in any semblance of a responsible way.
Right. Well, I mean, the problem is that they're not using sort of modern understandings of sexuality as their template. They're using 1,000-year-old book, or, you know, a couple 1,000-year-old book, and another book that's a couple 100 years old, but like purports to be 1,000 years old book. So,
well, and it's pretty nuts because even so, for example, when I was at BYU, so this was in probably 2004 that I took a neuroscience class. And within the neuroscience textbook, there was a chapter on the neuroscience of sexuality. That's a completely legitimate component for a student of the brain to understand. You know, it wasn't like it was some sort of salacious, pornographic, like pulp text. But we totally skipped that entire chapter in the course.
Oh, wow.
yeah, because it's dirty.
Totally just skipped right over it. We didn't want the students thinking about sex.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So, was it you personally that decided you needed to convert yourself to being straight?
When I went and talked to my bishop about my situation,
Yeah.
he instructed me that there were lots of other guys who had been in this situation and who had changed. And so he referred me to the BYU Counseling Center. And there I started going to the, reparative therapy regimen that was prescribed for me.
And BYU has a long history of lots of attempting many things to try and convert gay people to straightness.
They do. And in fact, my husband, Seth Anderson, is doing a lot of really, really revealing research with regard to the history of of conversion therapy efforts, such as those at BYU, also here at Cornell and at Harvard in the 1970s.
Yeah, how'd those turn out? Did they get it figured out?
They're part of the history of shame.
They are.
Yeah.
So your bishop, you start the therapy at BYU. I'm gonna guess it wasn't working.
It wasn't working. Well, but this is the thing. If the goal, and again, I'll get really kind of into the details here. If the goal is to prevent an individual from identifying as a gay person, then it worked. And for a lot of these individuals today who are advocating conversion therapy, they say, well, as long as you don't identify as gay, that you're not really gay. And they will mean that so sincerely when they advocate their success stories.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. So, I hate to be the devil's advocate, so to speak, but they break it down into your feelings, your behaviors, and your identity.
Yeah.
So they fragment the human sexual experience instead of having it be this wonderful, unified source of joy and affirmation that it should be. They dissect it until it's no longer a living, wonderful, beautiful thing. And they say that, your identity has to be different certainly from your feelings. And then behavior is sin. And so behavior, if you do act out, so to speak, then, you can take care of that in the religious context. And so they've they've fragmented human sexuality and assigned it to all of these different places where you're working clinically on resisting the identification component and convincing yourself that you're not gay and you're not homosexual and you ought not identify that way.
So if I'm going through this and I decide to be part of the program, then I'm saying I'm not gay. I may still be experiencing attraction to men. I may still be not attracted to women. But as long as I don't use the term "I'm gay," I'm one step down the road to recovery.
That's right, and you are a success story.
Hooray! That sounds fantastic. What a great life.
Yeah.
But that can't be the goal. Aren't they trying to change your actual attraction though?
this is where it gets very dicey, because you'll have individuals who run these programs who will swear until they are purple in the face that they are not trying to change sexual orientation.
What?
Wow.
Oh my God.
They are splitting hairs here.
So I never
They're
went.
totally split.
Yeah, I never went anywhere near these things. And
Right.
So it's all very foreign.
I mean, Frank, you had a similar like experience, at least on the sort of on the exterior, which was you went on a Mormon mission, just
Yeah.
like Michael did,
Yeah.
and then you went to BYU, just like Michael did. But
Right.
when you started to acknowledge your sexuality,
You mean when I was like 17?
well, by the time you were
when
at
I
BYU,
was starting to actually accept it
Right.
entirely. Yeah, I just cried bullshit and got out of there.
right?
Like I didn't go anywhere near that. So anyway, this is actually quite foreign to me and quite shocking. Some of this.
Yeah,
So-
Michael, what do you think it is that led you not to just say, well, they're rejecting a key component of clearly who I am. Why don't I just leave the church?
That's a really, really difficult question to answer, and it's
Of
one
course
that,
it is.
you know,
Sorry.
I've thought about. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's one that I've thought about quite a bit. I think that a big part of it comes from just homophobia within American culture throughout the 1980s and 1990s, such that I myself had a really negative view of what it meant to be gay and what gay people were and looked like and did and how they acted. And I didn't want to be that.
Right. So then after BYU's therapy didn't work,
Yeah.
you sought other therapy.
That's correct. I graduated from BYU and moved to Boston, and was in Boston for a year and participated in some evangelical groups that pray the gay away. And then from there went down to New York City and continued participating in religious pray the gay away types of approaches, in addition to starting more quote unquote clinical approaches, which, of course, ended up being abusive and fraudulent.
Right. So is this where you get to Jonah?
This is where I get to Jonah, was when I was living in New York City.
Talk to me about what Jonah is. You're not Jewish, but they clearly are. We're a Jewish organization. Talk to me what they.
This is the thing too, is that the main counselor who was a defendant in the lawsuit was Mormon. He wasn't Jewish either.
Oh, fascinating.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
so you go there. What kinds of therapies? And I'm going to put air quotes around the word therapies. What kinds of things, if you don't mind talking about it, were used to try and help you not be gay anymore?
Yeah. So a lot of disrobing exercises.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
And with what goal? With what purpose?
The way that it was sublimated was to justify the disrobing as removing layers of shame.
Oh my God. Okay. Not reinforcing shame, which seems like what would happen if you're forced to disrobe in front of your therapist.
It's pretty crazy stuff.
How did you react to this when you were asked to disrobe in front of, I assume, in front of your therapist?
That's right. So I only went as far as taking my shirt off because I was a prude little motherfucker. But there were some others that went all the way. And then the therapist said, now touch the part of your body that corresponds to your masculinity. And then they touch, what do you think that they touch?
Oh my God.
So this was actually kind of just maddening, but also hilarious. In the lawsuit, one of the defenses was, well, we never told them to touch their genitals.
Oh my God.
That's just what they chose as the symbol of their manhood. And it's oh my gosh.
Was this just a gay man getting his rocks off by watching young men disrobe and touch themselves?
The jury sure seemed to think that by the end of the trial.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
nuts.
And this is one thing that I'll say that is significant about this lawsuit, is that to the best of my knowledge, and to the best of my attorney's knowledge. And if someone has better knowledge, I'm always up to, improving my knowledge. But this is the only major LGBT rights related trial that has gone to a jury as opposed to just by a judge.
So this was not a criminal trial. You were suing them basically for fraud.
That's correct. Because if you sell a commercial product and you market it with specific statistics for its effectiveness, and then there is no demonstrable evidence that those claims are accurate, then that is fraudulent consumer activity.
Wow. So you got them on marketing fraud.
That's right. So this was a consumer fraud lawsuit.
None of the lawsuit was about like the damage that they may have been doing to their clients, or like the pain that you may have experienced going through this.
That's correct. I do think that individuals who are licensed and who are practicing conversion therapy should have malpractice suits brought against them. One of the complications is that none of these individuals with Jonah had any type of licensing, that they were operating as so-called life coaches.
I see.
And so you can't sue a life coach for malpractice because they don't have any type of professional credentials.
Right. And you must have, and going into this, you must have signed something acknowledging that you were not going to be dealing with any kind of, licensed person.
That's correct.
Wow. So at what point did you how long did you go through this stuff before you realized you are not going to be cured of your sexuality?
Yeah. With Jonah in particular, it just became increasingly clear that the people who were the longtime clients were not changed, that they were still attracted to men, and that what Jonah had become was their habit, that it had become their addiction, that this was a way for them to get some type of homoerotic, homophysical, homopsychological connection that they weren't allowing themselves to have in their real life, if you will.
Almost a sexual Stockholm syndrome.
Right, very much so.
That's crazy. So you mentioned the fact that you've got a husband now. It seems like you may have actually embraced your gayness.
With gusto.
Good. The lawsuit basically you shut down Jonah.
That's right.
Have there been ripple effects since then with other similar groups?
There have been ripple effects in other ways. So it's right now the situation is such that there are lots of individuals doing really excellent work to eradicate conversion therapy. And so part of it is that when there's success by one group or one individual, that it kind of amplifies the encouragement, and other individuals step up and they realize that they can speak out as well. And so I think that there's lots of indirect effects that come out of every victory that we have. Yeah. With regard to very concrete progress that has been made for eradicating conversion therapy, there are states and also other jurisdictions like city ordinances against conversion therapy that have started proliferating.
Right.
And I think that that's a really, really excellent direction for things to go in. I'm very interested in helping to promote the Federal Therapeutic Fraud Prevention Act. So this is a bill that's been introduced both into the U.S. Senate as well as into the House of Representatives that would explicitly make it clear that marketed efforts to change sexual orientation qualify as fraud. And they would create a lot more momentum toward helping empower victims and survivors of these practices.
Yeah, well, I mean, now that there is a precedent set that this is fraud, thanks to you and your cohorts, and this suit was brought by you and some other plaintiffs by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Is that right?
That's correct. The Southern Poverty Law Center was our legal counsel for this lawsuit.
Cool. So
with some other law firms like Cleary Gottlieb in New York, but it was the Southern Poverty Law Center that initiated this legal action.
Excellent. And are they still sort of working on this issue at all, or is there anything that they're doing about it?
Yes, they are. They have worked with the National Center for Lesbian Rights to file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission against a conversion therapy organization based in Virginia called People Can Change.
Wow. So the struggle continues.
Yep. So the struggle continues. That's like one concrete action that's been taken. If that federal complaint does receive some kind of action, which, unfortunately, with the situation that politics has moved in the United States, there's kind of a ticking deadline for when we would likely see any type of federal action on conversion therapy. But that would be a significant step forward if the Federal Trade Commission were to step in and say, we are shutting this down because this is something that is a violation of legal standards for practice of business.
Although I think it's fair to say, maybe not fair, I think it's fair to say that at least for the next 4 years, science is not going to be driving a lot of policy in the United States of America.
Yeah, it's kind of it's pretty disheartening.
But yes, I think we can say that the work needs to continue. Do you think, I mentioned it just almost as a given, but do you think that gay conversion therapy is inherently harmful? I guess that's a question I wanted you to answer.
Yes, I do.
And where does that harm lie, do you think?
Oh, in many, many, many places. So in general, if you're treating something like it's a therapeutic modality, that you have what are referred to as iatrogenic effects, meaning harms that result from the therapy itself. And in some situations, we're willing to make a bargain with those iatrogenic effects. So if you have cancer, a lot of people would rather have chemotherapy, and they would rather have the harms that come from dumping poison into your body than the harms from not addressing the cancer.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's how many gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender individuals within fundamentalist and conservative religious communities feel about their own nature, is they feel like there is this cancer that's growing inside of them, when really this is the development of your soul that's growing inside of you. And by taking just the paradigm that your own sexual nature is something that is either diseased or unhealthy or sinful, then that in and of itself is a damaging proposition for one to hold in their own mind.
Yeah, it's a rejection of something that is just the true self. How can rejecting what and who you are be a healthy thing?
So that's just at the most basic principled level of conversion therapy that I think that it's intrinsically harmful.
Right.
Then on top of that, you start looking at what actually happens in the conversion therapy settings, and it's just a horror show of abuses.
It can be Clockwork Orange shit.
Yes, and then some.
Yeah. I mean, what are there practices that you can talk about that are still happening that are beyond? I mean, so you talked about disrobing. I know that there used to be electroshock type therapies. There used to be just like aversion therapies where they just make you feel, somehow cause some sort of pain when you were as you looked at a picture, at an image of someone of your same gender, to try and create an aversion to that. Is that still happening out there?
It's difficult to say. I have heard reports from people as recently as 2006 administering electroshock aversion therapy.
Jesus.
But documentation becomes really, really important, because what happens psychologically, apart from any type of physical harm or torture, is already so dangerous,
right,
and so toxic that we don't need to indulge in hyperbole. But if those abuses are actually happening, then we need to very carefully and very rigorously document those and talk about them.
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid point, that it doesn't have to get that extreme for it to be harmful. We can talk about the harm of just sitting in a room and talking as though your sexuality is poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Some of the abusive practices that I have seen within the world of conversion therapy involve, these crossings between the client and the counselor.
Oh, yeah.
Where, imagine that you're going on these weekends in the woods, you're spending all of this time with each other, you're disrobing, you are going to start developing attractions, attachments, emotions. And then when you're in a state where you're so repressed and you just need some kind of human contact.
Yeah.
Then lots of relationships end up happening, both between clients themselves or, like I said, between counselors and clients or between counselors themselves. And so...
Wait a minute. Are you claiming on some level that when you put a whole bunch of gay men together and they're sleeping over in the woods somewhere, that gay shit happens?
I know, it's shocking, right? You wouldn't be able to predict that could happen.
Weird. Who would have seen that coming?
And then one of the things that's a real tragedy to me is that these organizations have retreats for the wives of gay men called the Wife's Healing Journey. That the damage that's done to the women in these relationships is also so predictable and so systematic that now they're marketing and profiteering by having retreats for the women who have been through a horrible abusive, traumatic experience with their husband cheating on them with another man or with their husband never being attracted to them. And so the way that just undermines their entire sense of worth and self. So you start following the trail and it's just disaster everywhere.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not, and yet it's such a fight to actually get it to stop.
Do you have any suggestions for our listeners who might want to participate in the in this struggle? Things that we can do as individuals or as a group to fight against gay conversion therapy and the demonizing of gay folk?
There's lots of things. One of the many things that you could do is to check out a website. I'm on the board of directors for this group. It's called weexist.lgbt. So weexist.lgbt. And one of our aims is to end conversion therapy. Like I said, we're specifically going to be looking on advocacy with regard to the Federal Therapeutic Fraud Prevention Act. So we'll be doing letter writing campaigns, reaching out to contact representatives, trying to get citizens involved to say that this is a direction that they want to see reflected in the representatives' decisions.
Neat. That sounds great. Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your less than fun experiences with us. But congratulations on winning the lawsuit. That's amazing.
Thank you. And I'm glad to get the word out there and to get people activated and involved. So thanks for having me on.
Bye-bye. God, that's fucked up. All the shit that he had to go through.
Well, yeah.
That is some fucked up stuff. But I'm glad that they won the lawsuit. Anyway, thanks again, Michael Ferguson, for that. We have some other people to thank. Thanks again to our patrons.
Absolutely. Thanks,
remember,
guys.
if you want to be a patron, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the Patreon button. If you want to write to us about anything you've heard on today's show, please feel free to do so. Go to just write to podcast. That's it. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, though, but we'll let you in.
Yes, indeed. Hey, thanks to Mackenzie for all the hard work she does on the Facebook page.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thanks to Gordon Johnston for his use of his fine organ music on that thing. We sure appreciate that.
And thank you, dear listener, for listening.
Yeah, we sure appreciate it when you do.
Merry Christmas!
Bye.